Some people just stand out in a crowd. Excellent at their craft, excellent in their thinking. And they're not hard to find because they stand out. My name is Joe Crenshaw, and I'm looking for TheStandOuts. All right, so I'm here with my man Jake Melton today. Me and Jake, we actually met at LinkedIn Local here, I think a couple months back, but I'm excited to have him. I wanted to talk to you about a few things, and I'll let you do most of the talking because you'll tell it way better than me. But here's the deal. So Jake, a few things about Jake. Jake's a keynote speaker. He actually just wrote this book. I think it just came out, like a week or two ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, so it's fresh. Loves to write, loves to speak, but there's specific content that he is passionate about that this book and his speaking is all built around. So I'm fascinated with it. I love the idea of it. I want to learn more. I figure you guys probably do too. So I think part of the title of the book is Cut the Crap, but that's your hashtag, right? That's what you're rolling with is like cut the crap. So just speak to that real quick about where that stemmed from, what's that about?
Yeah. So just a quick background on this book. Again, the title's Minimalize to Maximize Your Happiness, Cut the Crap. And the reason that I decided to pursue speaking and writing on minimalism was because I applied it to my own life, and I have found a drastic difference in the way that I live. For me, this book covers more of the mental clutter that you got going on up here more than, most people consider minimalism to be let's get rid of the physical crap that you got going on around you and in your garage, and that's a small part of minimalism to me. To me, it's more about what's going on up here and clearing the clutter that's up here. And suffering from depression before, anxiety, I have Tourette's. So when that anxiety and all of that builds up, it makes my world chaotic. And by applying principles of minimalism and simplicity, my life has changed. And that's the message I want to share with people. And when it comes down to it, the cut the crap that's what you got to do. You got to cut the crap. And whether it's in relationships, we deal with toxic relationships all the time in our lives. And if we're not willing to cut the crap and we're not understanding that this is our one life, this is our life to live. Yeah. And if we're going to allow negative influences to come in and compromise that, we need to be willing to cut that crap and let go of those relationships that are holding us back. Yeah. So
speak to that a little bit more, because even for me, I think where I get curious is like there can be some false misconceptions about what minimalism is, right? And so one, I would just want to hear what you would define minimalism as. And in Cut the Crap, like what are the specific areas you spoke to a little bit of it, specific areas where that's applicable in your life? You're most focused on how you're cutting the crap. What does that look like?
Well, that's funny because this first section I have in my book is minimalism misconceptions, man.
I have not
so
read the book.
I know that's kind of weird.
That's so perfect, so
but great. Even ones you got on here, you got people thinking that you have to be a vegan or you have to be vegan or vegetarian to be a minimalist. You got to live in a studio apartment. You can't own more than one pair of shoes. You can't have a car. There's a lot of the misconceptions do go around the physical realm of minimalism. And it's funny because I'll show you right here. I'll have you read it, actually. This is what minimalism is to me.
Sounds good. And there's the definition. In my opinion, it's the practice and philosophy of ridding things in one's life that don't contribute to one's happiness or forward progression. So the answers to both of my questions are literally page 1 and page 2. And I promise I have not seen this book yet.
Well, I'll let you hold this because this is going to be your copy.
Sure, thanks.
Whatever you have going on in your life, if it's in the physical realm, if it's emotional, spiritual, mental, relational, familial, any of that, if it is holding you back and keeping you from attaining more happiness in your life, you need to cut it.
Yeah. So with that, like, where have you seen? Obviously, you spoke to some of the ways that you've done this, but let's talk about some of the benefits, right? How have you seen this really? You talked about removing anxiety and depression, right? Yep. Some of those things. What are some areas where you've seen it really contribute to your happiness?
So for me, where it's made probably the biggest difference is in relationships. Okay. Growing up, I was always the friend that was more attached, I guess. I always felt like I put in more effort in my friendships and relationships than the other side. Yeah. And for me, I held on to that a lot. even relationships that didn't end up the way I hoped they would have 5-10 years ago, I was still holding on to. And when I got married, my wife was very much, these relationships are really affecting your life, and you've done everything you can. If they're not willing to put in the effort, or they're holding you back, or bringing negativity into your life, or they're not supporting you, you need to be willing to let that go. And there's an excerpt I have. A chapter is about relationships and how we can cut the crap in relationships. But my favorite musician of all time is Justin Furstenfeld of Blue October. And I spoke with him personally here when he was in the House of Blues performing in Dallas. And I asked him a few questions, and he came down to the fact that he has had to literally fire his own dad from his life because his dad was bringing too much negativity and holding him back. And for some time he had to cut off any ties with his own father. And for me, when I decided that I could actually let go of relationships and move forward and stop, create my new tribe, right? Or people like you and people on LinkedIn who actually make me a better person, that has changed my life from what I do in the morning to everything I do throughout the day to when I go to bed. It's changed.
The whole minimalizing mindset, literally even just in this conversation, I think it's so fascinating because I thought of like 100 questions that I want to ask you, right? I'm probably going to just start with the book and read a little bit more of this and then kind of follow up. Last question I want to ask you, and this is really for everybody else too, just to kind of like, if we were to help you, right? You do keynote speaking, you write this book, you speak about minimalizing, and so if the community were to kind of gather around you, what are ways that we can really support you with some of this?
That's a great question. That's a special question too. Thank you. Number one, I'd say get the book. Even like you said, some of your questions were answered just in page 1 and page 2.
Yeah, right.
I actually have a workbook version I'm working on right now that's going to come out. It's going to be a larger print, and it'll be a workbook, so you can sit and write in things that are going on, things you want to improve on, how you're feeling. So that'll be coming out. But if you know any business owners, if you know executives, organizations that want to level up by applying principles of minimalism and simplicity, reach out to me.
Awesome.
Reach out to me, pass on their info. My focus, obviously, I want to help you as an individual and as regular human beings apply this, but my focus is more right now on organizations and how we can apply this to increase profit, to streamline processes, and increase success in the workplace.
That's good. Love it. So these are the ways we can help our brother Jake. Even just besides this, just reach out to him. He's a cool dude. He's fun to chill with, and he likes getting in the LinkedIn community. So I appreciate you coming.
Yeah,
Thanks
man.
for jumping on for a minute.
For having me.
Appreciate you guys too. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.